Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team series with Lozzer Racing, and it is the Dutch Grand Prix this time round. Now, if you don't know what happened last time in Belgium, I will let you know. But first, I will give you a couple of seconds to go and watch it. 1, 2. Well, last time out, for starters, we actually had some driver transfers. As you can see on the screen, we've got George Russell driving for AlphaTauri. Yuki Tsunoda, of course, I picked up for my team. Robert Schwartzman's gone to Haas and Mick Schumacher's gone to Williams. At the Belgian Grand Prix, it was a bit of a struggle. We had worn components, we were just slow on the straights, and in the end, I'll be completely honest, at the time of recording, I can't remember where I actually finished, but I know it wasn't a great result. We didn't get any points, and neither did Yuki. So, yeah, I think it was P14 we finished. I think it was P14. Anyway, onto the Dutch Grand Prix. And once again, this video will be uploaded over the weekend of the real-life Dutch Grand Prix. Hopefully that's not a bad omen, because I did the same thing last weekend with the Belgian Grand Prix, and the Belgian Grand Prix never happened. And in the top right corner, you will see a link to a video on my racing channel where I actually talk about what happened at the Belgian Grand Prix. So if you want to go check that out, then click the link in the top right corner and you will find it. But let's hope we actually get some racing at Zandvoort this weekend, shall we? Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Anyway, we're in qualifying and we're at the end of our first flying lap here. As we come around the banked corner, the final corner, onto the straight, we go into P8, which is only faster than Latifi currently. But then I noticed something. I'd forgotten to fit the fourth MGU-H, which is actually, less worn than the third one. I'd forgotten to fit it before the qualifying session. So I thought, okay, I'll fit it. Because it'll only take like 4 to 6 minutes, so that absolutely no bother. We can do that real quick. So we do that, as you do, and then we head out on track to set our second and probably final flying lap of this session, and we have a 22 place grid penalty for some reason. So I don't even know if that's supposed to happen. Why a 22 place grid penalty? That is oddly specific. Just for changing my MGU-H. Okay, 6, so that's our qualifying session over then, because if we've got a 22 place grid penalty, we're going to be starting last regardless. So that's it. That's the end of our qualifying session. We're going to come back into the pits, and we are going to be the slowest car on track and start last anyway, because for some reason the game thinks that changing one MGU-H during qualifying is a 22 place grid penalty. I don't know.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and Zandvoort, 25 miles away from Amsterdam, and the host for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. Zandvoort circuit then, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout the 2.6 mile lap. And watch out for cars making use of the DRS zone into turn 1 to try and overtake. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the rundown into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Norris, Daniel Ricciardo and Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, Vettel and George Russell, Raikkonen, Ocon, Antonio Giovinazzi and Schwartzman, Tsunoda, Mazepin, Pierre Gasly and Mick Schumacher. Stroll, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Fernando Alonso, Latifi, they've taken a grid penalty, and Lawrence. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So here we are then. And the strategy apparently is a one-stop either way, from soft to hards or from mediums to hards. But I'm actually going to change that up because if I remember correctly, in F1 2020, the two softs and one medium was the way to go. And what I'm going to do is actually change it to soft, medium, soft, because start on soft so you get a better start than people around you, medium in the second stint, and then soft at the end when the track is rubbered in the most and you are incredibly fast. Hopefully that works out. I can't speak. Hopefully that works out. Let's go to the grid and ready to start the race. As the 5 red lights are on and we're lights out and underway, and what a fantastic start it is compared to Latifi and Alonso. They're both on hard tyres. In fact, everyone around us is on hard tyres and we're on softs. No wonder our start was so good. We've dive bombed into Tarzan and we're up into P17. We've got ahead of Schumacher and Mazepin, and now into the banked turn 3. I absolutely love this corner. We go around the outside of Pierre Gasly, maybe have a look at Schwartzman as well. Schwartzman had a bit of a wobble off the corner, but Gasly's alongside him, so I decided to back out of that for the time being. As we head further on in the lap and we are all over our former teammate Robert Schwartzman around the outside of the hairpin. I think it's a hairpin, heading into the first DRS zone of the lap, and we're alongside the Haas, but into the chicane. We brake later and we get ahead, and we're now looking around the outside of the AlphaTauri of Gasly as well. We're alongside him, but in the end he has better traction, and into the final banked corner we're going to be behind Gasly. And we're going to remain behind him. We're coming up to the end of lap 3 now and heading around the banks too. And we're getting some lovely, lovely speed out of this turn. We just hit on the ERS every so often to try and close up to the cars in front. And Gasly's also got DRS on Tsunoda. We're going to go down the inside of turn 1. And I've actually braked super late there. And I've actually dive bombed both Gasly and Tsunoda, which is something that I wasn't intending to do. I only really wanted to dive down Gasly's inside, but we actually ended up getting past Tsunoda as well. So I mean, yeah, double win for us there. But as you've just seen, or maybe just heard in the background, Jeff has said there may be some rain coming in the next 15 minutes. There was no rain forecast for this race at all. Only a small percentage, like 20 to 30% chance about halfway through the race. But Jeff says in about 15 minutes we could get some rain, so this could throw our strategy into huge doubt, as we could end up using wet tyres instead of doing the 2-stop that we wanted. And now we're setting our sights ahead, as we are now within DRS range of the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. We've got softer tyres on than him as well. We've got DRS. We've got an opportunity to go down the inside of turn 1 again. This time it's not a kamikaze dive, it's a straightforward dive, as we were right there ready to make it. And we're up into P13. Don't forget, we started in last place and we're already up into P13 after 6 laps. I would call that a pretty successful 6 laps so far, for sure. And on the next lap, it's the same deal again. We're now lining up Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo, of course, the man who we spent half of the Belgian Grand Prix battling for position with. And once again, it's going to be the exact same thing. We're just going to dive it down the inside of turn 1. We've got the speed, we've got the braking, we've got the inside line, and now we have 12th place. But unlike the others, he's not going to give this one up without a fight. And as we're in now the fast sector 2, Giovinazzi senses an opportunity there, but he hits me. And oh, it's a huge crash for Giovinazzi. And oh, Schwartzman has gone right into the stricken Alfa Romeo. And I think Stroll's also lost his front wing as well. What an absolute disaster for the Alfa Romeo. And he's out of the race and the safety car is out. There was just absolutely no opportunity for Giovinazzi to pass there. I just ran slightly wide into that fast right-hander, and Giovinazzi tried to pass me through there, and there was just not enough room. He hit my rear right tyre and just span off into the wall. As we look at the view from the Haas of Robert Schwartzman, yeah, there was no avoiding that. Giovinazzi was right in the middle of the track. There was no way he was not hitting in there, but I'm very surprised that Schwartzman didn't lose any more than just his front wing. And then Stroll just clips the back of Schwartzman as well and loses his front wing. It's just an unfortunate chain of events for those two, and for Giovinazzi, who really tried a bit of a stupid move in that part of the track. But this could actually help us as we now come into the pits to make our first stop for medium tyres, because of course we're doing a 2-stop, so it's almost like the perfect time for this safety car to come out, as we can come in to make our stop. And we probably won't lose any. We won't lose anything at all because we're under safety car conditions. We've lost places right now, but of course people are going to have to peel into the pits eventually, although most of the other drivers in this race are making a one-stop, so it's a case of us now trying to overtake as many people as we can. But as you can see, look at the halo, look at the car. It's just as I've come out of the pits, started to rain. So now I just feel like cracks. I'm just like, well, have I made the right call here? Is it going to just continue to rain enough to need inters? Should I have waited to see if it rains? You know, all these things are going through my head, but it's too late now. I've boxed onto the medium, so if I do box for inters, or if I require inters, then unfortunately I'm going to lose out a bit more than I might have done had I noticed this sooner. So the safety car is now coming in, and I've got a big decision to make here. I'm considering pitting for inters because it's just continued to rain, and I'm actually going to risk it. I'm going to go and put some inters on. I don't know how much it's going to rain, if it's going to rain enough for inters, but you know, with this game, how quickly the conditions can change, because that was what was in my head. I was thinking, if I switch to inters now, you know, that and it rains hard enough to need them, then I've made a super call here, because you know that the track can go from dry to wet in this game just at the click of a finger, and just like that, you know, I might have been halfway around the lap and tiptoeing on medium tyres. So I've decided to come out on inters in the hope that it goes wet as soon as possible, and I've committed to this now. You know, I've absolutely committed to this, and if it doesn't rain enough, then, well, we've completely ruined our race, but I was fully committed. You know, we're essentially a backmarker team in a sense. We've got to try these things, so I've risked it for a biscuit. So with me tiptoeing around right at the back, hoping it gets wet, let's have a look at some other action on track, shall we say, and this is Pierre Gasly on Mick Schumacher, and he looks to go around the outside at Tarzan. What a move that is from Pierre Gasly. 9 times out of 10 on this game, or, you know, the player mostly, you see a move down the inside, but Pierre Gasly is like, screw that, I'm going around the outside of this, Williams. And Stroll's now right on the back of Schumacher as well. Could he potentially get past him into the fast sector 2? He's on soft tyres, and Mick Schumacher's on hard tyres, and that is another brilliant move, but can Schumacher hold it? No, he can't. Stroll goes round the outside of Schumacher. That's how you pass in that corner, Antonio. Not down the inside, trying to dive like that. And now to another man who's pit and is right at the back of the field, but he's on soft tyres. This is Lewis Hamilton, and he's looking to make a move on Robert Schwartzman here, down the main straight. They've both got DRS, but Hamilton is in a Mercedes, for goodness sake. Of course he's going to get past Schwartzman there, down the inside. And now he sets his sights on Nicholas Latifi into the bank turn 3. He's not going to get him there, but could he potentially get him in sector 2 like Stroll just did on Schumacher? He's going to try the move as Lewis Hamilton around the outside of Nicholas Latifi, and he's passed before they even get to the point of where Stroll passed. He's on an absolute mission as Lewis Hamilton, and he's already right on the back of the other Williams of Mick Schumacher. And as we head towards the other DRS straight, well, we're on it now, and Lewis Hamilton has got the overriding pace to get Mick Schumacher around the outside of the chicane. It's a brilliant move from Lewis Hamilton, and he's up into 17th place. He's made 3 overtakes in a single lap, and up next is someone who could be overtaken just as easily by him, and that is Nikita Mazepin in the other Haas. And look at the speed that Lewis Hamilton has. We're onto the main straight once again, and already he's alongside the Haas, and he's ahead around the outside of turn 1 once again. Lewis Hamilton has made 4 overtakes in the space of 1 lap. That's absolutely fantastic. Meanwhile, further up the field, this is Sergio Perez and Sebastian Vettel on the main straight. We're on to lap 18 now. Perez on soft tyres, Vettel on hard tyres, and once again, it's a move around the outside at turn 1. Vettel's still alongside, but Perez has got the move done. What another brilliant move from the Red Bull driver. But let's check in on the leaders. We're halfway through this Grand Prix, lap 18 of 36, and Lando Norris is the man who currently leads the Dutch Grand Prix ahead of Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, so no Mercedes on the podium currently. And McLaren 1 and Ferrari 2. That is absolutely brilliant. But look ahead. That's me. I'm still on my intermediate tyres and I'm interfering with this battle unintentionally, of course. I'm trying to get out of the way, but because of me there, Lando Norris has lost the lead to Leclerc and he's lost second place to Verstappen as well. That was not my fault, really. It was just wrong place, wrong time, really. And in the end, it's cost Lando Norris the lead and also second place. And who knows, it could yet cost him a podium place as well. But as you can see, we're on lap 19 now, and it's still dry. Everyone is still on dry tyres, and here I am still on my intermediates. So it started to rain when I passed the finish line for lap 12 to start lap 12. We're on lap 18 now, and it's still dry, which I just can't believe it right now. And we're about to get lapped by another huge gaggle of cars that is led by Kimi Räikkönen, and then there's Russell, and then there's an Alpine and another Alpine, and it's just going from bad to worse. And to even worse now, as we're getting lapped, we've lost the car and we've hit the wall. And that is it. That is our Dutch Grand Prix over. Just like that. That's it.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team. And they certainly deserve it.
So Valtteri Bottas is the one who's ended up winning the Grand Prix then ahead of Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. So he's come through from 4th place then to overtake the 3 in front of him and win. Okay then, that's absolutely fine, but what hasn't been fine is how our race has gone. Sometimes you've got to admit you've made a mistake, and today we definitely made a mistake with the strategy. I saw the rain coming down, thought, you know what, I'm going to pit early, take the risk. Hopefully it gets wet soon enough because you know how quick it can get wet on this game. And unfortunately it just didn't get wet at all. You know, 6 laps I spent on those tyres, 6 laps. And they didn't get wet. So I made a mistake, and I made an even bigger mistake by just spinning into the wall. But it is what it is. You have those days, and this was certainly one of those days. But after that win, Valtteri Bottas now takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship ahead of Lewis Hamilton by 10 points. We remain in P13, just behind our teammate Yuki Tsunoda and ahead of Lance Stroll. But sooner or later, Stroll and Russell are going to overtake us, and Ocon as well, because they are starting to pick up a point here and there now. So we're probably not going to be that high up for much longer. Hopefully Tsunoda can hang in there in P12, but it's probably not going to happen. And we remain in P8 of the championship, and I've been saying every race that that's probably where we're going to stay. But Alfa Romeo are no longer in this bottom pack. They've actually got a better car on paper than Alpine, and you saw today in the race. Kimi Räikkönen was running as high as 9th at one point, and Giovinazzi was, running in 11th, and yeah, so that's how this race has gone. And just to compound my misery, we don't even get money for completing an objective. The objective's to answer 2 interview questions over a weekend. I answered 6 and we get 0 money. This game is buggy. This game is so buggy sometimes. And just to make it that little bit worse, because I can't do simultaneous upgrades on any of my departments at the moment, I can't make any upgrades to the car, because I've got upgrades going on each department already. So I can't make any upgrades to the car, apart from on durability, which we end up actually doing. We actually end up buying the MGUH improved materials durability upgrade. But even then, I've got 894 R&D points, and I can't do anything with them, because I've got so many upgrades coming that I can't even make a new upgrade. And now we also have a department event in the marketing department, and I can't even accept it. I would have accepted this, but because the money from the race didn't go in quickly enough, we didn't have 100k to spend on this. So I had to decline it, and then the money came through, Luke. The money's come through after. We're now at 991k. But before that, we were stuck at like 50k, so I couldn't even accept that thing. Oh my days. this has been a very, very frustrating episode, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it nonetheless. If you guys did, make sure to smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more, and if you don't want to miss a video, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button, and you'll get a notification whenever I upload. Guys, hopefully we have a better time of it at the Italian Grand Prix, but until next time, peace.